Welcome to the sometimes silly world of kanji. Today we look at a questionable kanji that means both male and excrement. How did this happen? Bin is used in yubin-kyoku, which means post office, and it's also used in takkyubin, which means courier service, because bin means male. It can also be read ben. It's used in benjo, which means toilet, and benpi, which means constipation, because ben means excrement. So why? Well, Japan has no freaking idea! Because the kanji was used like this in China even before it came to Japan. That's like over 1,500 years ago. The kanji also means convenient, so one theory is that it was some kind of euphemism for taking number 1 or 2. But I'm not gonna let you go empty-handed. This story will make you feel completely fine about confusing the meaning of Japanese words with bin or ben. It was 1872. After Japan saw the downfall of the Tokugawa shogunate that reigned over 250 years, the new government set up post boxes all over the country as part of Japan's modernization program. Post boxes in Japan look like this now, but the earliest ones looked like this. It says clearly, yubin bako, post box. But yubin, mail, was a word that was created in Japan only recently, so not many people were familiar with it. And in the dark, you can't really read it well. So apparently, some drunk guys at night thought they read tare ben bako, drip excrement box. Public toilet. How convenient. Don't ask me how they reached that height, or if they didn't feel it was weird to be challenged on a game of precision with that narrow slit. But the post box was used in a way that it was not intended. So if you're having trouble with this kanji, don't worry, because even Japanese people had trouble understanding its use cases.
Do you put a sun on everything and everyone in Japanese?
Hi, I'm the collective subconscious of the Japanese people. Not always, but mammals tend to get a sun. Capybaras, when they came to Japan, they immediately got a sun. Birds, insects, microorganisms, not so often. Whether we put a sun kind of represents how the Japanese people had traditionally viewed them. For example, wolves don't usually get a sun, probably because they were seen as dangerous animals. But then bears are kuma-san, and we don't know why. Except they're cute from a distance. By the way, you guys call Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh. Where did the sun go? In Japan, we call him Kuma no Pooh-san. Don't forget the sun. Companies, yes, but only in a specific situation. When you speak to someone from outside your organization in a work context, you represent your organization. So when you say something like, "Nintendo が作るソフトはどれも面白いですね." By not putting a sun at the end, it sounds as if you're viewing Nintendo as equals or even lower by critiquing them. But we all know that Nintendo has conquered the world. So compared to them, your company is like a speck of dust. And besides, we never know. Your company might work with them in the future, and we don't know who's listening. So we make sure we say, Nintendo さんが作るソフトは面白いですね. There, you have fulfilled your duty as a representative of your organization. Shops, yes, if it's a mom and pop shop. In old cities like Kyoto, Osaka, and Tokyo, people lived very close to each other for generations. And their family businesses were tied to that geographical location. So if you had neighbor problems, you couldn't just move. So keeping a good relationship with your neighbors by showing respect to each other was very important. Let's put it this way. Imagine having a bad relationship with your neighbors in Kyoto. So the local grocery store, bookstore, flower shop, these were not just services. They were the town's infrastructure run by your neighbors. So we say, yaoya-san, honyasan, hanayasan. But supermarkets and banks, they're not our neighbors. They're just services without a face. So we don't say, super-san, ginko-san. We say, super, ginko. So try to make a habit of putting a san after anything or anyone you want to show respect to. And be careful. Poo-san is a non-negotiable. There are 3 writing systems in Japanese: kanji, hiragana, katakana, and the way they came to be is just hilarious. So Japanese was spoken from before its written history, but they didn't have a writing system because they didn't need it. Until one day before the 6th century, the imperial court in Japan was like. So as we all know, we were having a little argument with an opposing political faction, and we did our best to reach consensus, But finally we stabbed the leader from behind. So now we have unanimously come to an agreement to import Buddhism because it seems like a cool religion. It's getting popular on the continent. Sir, how do you import a religion? I don't know, like they must have books or something that we can pass around. Sir, none of us can read. Oh, I didn't think about that part. Let's import a writing system first. We'll set up a study group or something. So to learn Chinese culture, the Chinese writing system was brought into Japan and they called it kanbun, and each character is called kanji. Now we may be taking this for granted, but writing is very useful. So Japanese people were like, no, you may not remember, but my notes do. You owe me 2 radishes. Recording information is groundbreaking. Thank you, China. I wish we could write things in Japanese too. I mean, that's the language we use every day. Well, maybe we can use the Chinese characters that sound similar to our Japanese phonetics. But are there like a lot of Chinese characters that are read the same way? There can't be that many. And the result was a disaster. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A few weeks ago, we released our first ever Japanese writing system 1.0, the Hiragana. And today, I'm here to declare that we need to upgrade it to 2.0 really fast. You know why? Yes, because we don't want 57 possible ways to write a single phonetic sound. This is like just the letter S in English. We're not even finished with a word and my wrist has already fallen to tenosynovitis. Look at the number of strokes. So hiragana was invented immediately. It was a codified version of Hiragana, which took too long to write and was not standardized. The infinite possible ways to write Japanese phonetics was reduced to just 46 letters that are easy on our wrists. What's not to like about language? We'll talk about katakana next time. There are 3 writing systems in the Japanese language: kanji, hiragana, and katakana. I talked about how kanji and hiragana emerged in the last video, so what the hell is this? Katakana was a cheat sheet language! So Buddhism was imported from the continent into ancient Japan, and all the scriptures were written in Chinese kanji, so ancient Japanese people studied kanji. Now if you've studied Chinese or Japanese, you would know, but it's all fun until you reach the reading and writing kanji zone. The learning curve is as steep as Vegeta's hairline. It takes time to learn hundreds of kanji, but Buddhist scripture gave no mercy. This is a typical kanji textbook for day 1. You know, it says how to read them, how to write them. And this is day 1 Buddhist scripture! So aspiring Buddhist monks were like, I will go without food for days. I totally understand that learning requires effort on the learner's part. But educators need to do their part too! Break things down! Hey, I think I know what we can do. Oh, you guys are reading scripture like it's butter! Hey, wait, let me see your textbook. What is this? Why did you write kanji radicals on the side? So they wrote the mini parts of the kanji they could already read on the right of the kanji they had trouble reading. These radicals reminded them of the sound they were supposed to make. Whole kanji were too bulky to fit between the lines, so they took a part of existing kanji, they took only half the space. Katakana literally means part kana. So that is how katakana was born. It's half-ass kanji minus their meaning. And then centuries later, when Western literature came into Japan, Saburo-kun, you're reading Dutch like it's butter! Hey, wait, let me see your textbook. No! Why did you write katakana above the alphabet? Because learners need help! So katakana came to be used primarily for loan words. We can tell it's a loan word instantly when we see katakana in a sentence. Not all things have profound beginnings. Start small. Start partial. Ah, konnichiwa. Gokigen ikaga de gozaru ka? Samurai spoke very differently from ordinary people, especially during the Edo period when there were no wars and samurai needed other ways to show that they were special people who were in power. By speaking differently, they were trying to prevent the situation many Japanese dads are in. They are the boss at work, so they feel important, but at home, they basically don't feel needed. Also, Japanese dialects then were so different that samurai could not understand each other if they spoke normally. So they often used written Japanese, which all samurai were accustomed to, as a common samurai spoken language. That's why it sounds overly serious. So let's look at some basic samurai phrases so that you can speak like someone who needs to prove their worth. ありがとうございます。かたじけない。そうなんですよ。いかにもその通りでござる。嘘でしょ。誠でござるか。ねえ、あ、ここですか。あ、大丈夫です。はい、どうぞ。はい。ここに 直座したいと申すか。苦しゅうない。座れ。あ、そろそろ時間ですね。皆さん、行きましょうか。おはよう、国言でござるな。おのおの方、参ろうか。カービィカフェ。Haiku is a product of 1,000 years of streamlining poetry, and its origin story is hilarious. Haiku is a Japanese poetic form with a 5-7-5 syllabic structure that explores themes of nature and the seasons. The beauty is in what is not said but inferred and everything, but why is it so short? The great ancestor of haiku was the choka, long poem, and these poems were long. The longest one had 149 lines, so by the time you got to the end of the poem, the audience doesn't remember shimane about what you were talking about 10 minutes ago. So choka always came with a conclusive final verse that summarized everything in a 5-7-5-7-7 syllabic structure, so ancient Japanese people were like, Yasumi shishi, waga ookimi, taka terasu, hinomiko, kami nagara, kami sabisesu to futoshikazu. So in summary, ookimi wa kami ni shimaseba anaku mono, ioe ga noto ni komori tamainu. Just say that! Thank you. You put me to sleep on your third line and you had the audacity to continue like another 15 lines! 22 lines. Shut up! So people like the shorthand summary better because it was actually enjoyable. So the creation of long poems just stopped by the 8th century. Everyone made 5-7-5-7-7 poems. These were called waka. From around the 13th century, co-op poetry games called renga became popular. The rules went like this. The host read a 5-7-5 opening poem that took the location of the event and the current season as its theme. This most important first poem was called the haiku no hokku. Then a second person added a complementary 7-7 poem. Then everyone took turns improvising and alternating 5-7-5s and 7-7s as long as they could. But over time, people were like, renga is so hard. Oh, but it's cool. It's like you're a jazz musician creating music on the fly. You know what I create on the fly? What? Gibberish. Many of these poems I improvise, they are not great. You know, I wouldn't mind just having the first haiku no hokku because that one's always beautiful, well thought out. So people started creating just the 5-7-5 haiku no hokku for pleasure. Poets like Matsuo Basho refined this art form and everyone did it, like everyone sings at karaoke nowadays. And around the 19th century, let's make a haiku no hokku this weekend. What kind of haiku no hokku are you gonna make? My haiku no hokku... We need an abbreviation for this. Haiku no hokku. Haiku. And that's why we call these poems haiku now. We humans are lazy-ass animals. Ocha, okashi, onigiri, odaiba, osencha. Why are there so many words that start with the sound O in Japanese? It was the doing of women in medieval Japan. O is a beautification prefix that makes the word sound more elegant. So before O came to be used, ocha was just cha. Okashi was just kashi, and oishii, which means tasty in Japanese, was just ishi. Do you feel that cha, kashi, and ishi sound a lot more blunt than ocha, okashi, oishii? So, as girls and women tend to be the creators of new trends and new words in Japan today, court ladies in medieval Japan stood up to fix Japan's inelegance. 誰か、茶と菓子をくれ. We don't do that. What do you mean? You are a lady in waiting serving me. Where's my cha and kashi? There are plenty of re-employment opportunities for ladies in waiting of our caliber, and we won't serve nobles who are less refined than ourselves. Please watch your language, like I told you. Ocha o kudasai. And? Okashi mo kudasai. Douzo. Ishi. Oishii desu. I do feel more civilized saying this. Then can I call it juice? Or juice? We don't do that. Then can I call beer or beer? If you want to annoy people. Who decides all this? We do. Women will forever be the gatekeepers of trendy Japanese language. And therefore, some select words, which are quite many, came to take on the O prefix. I'll leave a list in the comments. Ao desu ne. Midori desu ne. Gomennasai. Ao desu ne. Why do Japanese people sometimes call green ao, blue? It's not just traffic lights. Aoringo, aomushi, aotake. There is a simple reason behind this. In ancient Japan, there were only 4 color words. Aka, ao, shiro, kuro. Green was included in ao. Pink, purple, aka. So many questions, I know. What about yellow? Aka. So it seems like they used aka for all warm colors and ao for all cold colors. Shiro for bright stuff and kuro for dark stuff. Midori as a color name only started to be used around the 12th century. A solid proof from a linguistic perspective is that aka, ao, shiro, kuro, only these can be turned into an adjective. We say akai slime, aoi slime, shiroi slime, kuroi slime. These mean a red slime, a blue slime, a white slime, a black slime. For all of the colors, we need to tweak them a little bit, like midori iro no slime, murasaki iro no slime, chairoi slime. This means a new leaf colored slime. Midori was originally a word that was used to describe young leaves. This means a gromwell colored slime. Gromwell roots were used to make purple dyes in ancient Japan. This means a tea colored slime. Before sencha was invented, tea was brown in Japan. So there weren't many color names until someone tried to brainwash ancient Japanese people with this nonsense. Look, Japan. There are 7 colors in a rainbow. Aka. Oh. You really need to stop complicating things. There are a million colors in a rainbow. Okay, so we tolerate the 7 colors in a rainbow fluff. You're telling me that is true? 猫が1匹、ネズミが2匹、象が1頭、ライオンが2頭. Why do we count animals in different ways in Japanese? Actually, we have a different counting unit for almost every matter on Earth. This is one of the most unpopular aspects of the language to come across as Japanese learners. And to swallow this pill, you need a sincere explanation. So here goes. First of all, it helps to understand that Japanese is not an analytical language. Ancient Japanese people did not analyze anything. Whenever something unexplainable happened, they just blamed everything on mythical creatures. My sister's sick. Oni no shiwaza ja. My father hasn't come back for a week now. Oni no shiwaza ja. So biological classifications of animals. Nobody cared. They called snakes and frogs insects. Japanese was originally a language of perception and feeling. What they saw, what they heard, what they felt from it, they expressed through poetry. Until Chinese characters, kanji, came in. Then, classification became more of a thing. Now, in ancient Japan, horses were counted ippiki, nihiki. Why? Because they usually trotted ahead of people. So, what did horses look like to ancient Japanese people? They looked like butt cracks! And that is why they used the kanji, hiki, to count horses. Fast forward to the 19th century, when Western papers on zoology started to come into Japan, they said that they counted livestock like cows by head. So Japanese people started using the kanji to, head, to count cows. So if cows were counted by head, it felt right to count all big animals by head. So elephants, lions, and horses too came to be counted itto, nito. Meanwhile, smaller animals came to be counted ippiki, nihiki. Why? Because animals that are smaller than us run when we come near them. And what do small animals usually look like? Butt cracks! And when we come across animals that are bigger than us, they don't need to run from us. So what we see is, oh, how I love the mountains. Oh, what do I see over there? 熊が1頭、2頭、3頭 coming straight at us! Everybody, it was nice meeting you! We see their heads first! So medium-sized animals like dogs can be 1頭 or 1匹. Oh, that will be 1頭 for today because I need to be 熊さんフード.